All right, we're live. So,
Hey.
hi, Miss T.Marie, Miss
Hello.
on the guidebook. I'm very excited to hear about our progress from the last coaching session.
Yeah.
These sessions are so energizing to me, and I'm so excited to hear how our strategy talk helped. How are you doing today? You're looking fab.
Thank you. You as well. I'm doing
Great.
great. Really excited. I definitely took everything you said to heart. It was so many gems that you dropped in our last session. So last week was heavy into just research, strategizing. I actually ended up having to dive back into the book and tweaking a little couple of things and actually adding in a chapter, which thank God, you
I
can
love
do
it.
that. You can do that right before the launch. Thankfully, with the way that KDP is set up for Amazon, what have you. So did that, and I'm just excited because I know like it's going to be just a wealth of information presented. Also, too, there's like a buzz and a lot of couple people, several people that have kind of been spreading the word, jumping, kind of getting ahead of me, but listen, I'll take it. The community wants to help, so there's like a buzz going around because there are so many people who are waiting to get information about different countries, particularly
Mm-hmm.
Ghana. They're ready to move, or they just want the information to have it at their fingertips if they decide to travel and or move. So
Hey, listen, and if you've been in New
absolutely.
York for the past 30 days, you ready to move.
That too.
You
Or
ready
at
to
least
go
get a
anywhere.
vacation, right?
Okay?
Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
escaping Tundra Town. That's what it's about. Just getting up out of there. And it's
So
the cold is one thing, but the way that the streets have been violated by New York City dog owners and dogs is just like real diabolical. You
at
gotta be tap
work.
dancing down the street. Like, no. I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden the snow just gave everyone a license to just never pick up their dog poop again.
That's not good. Yeah, that's not
But
good.
right. So yes, I am obviously out of New York and in Nassau, Bahamas. The kids are all on winter break. All you parents out there know that. Had to escape for a quick second. But definitely so excited to hear about the progress made on the Ghana guidebook and talk about what our next level of strategy is.
Absolutely, for sure. And I'm excited to hear, like, some more information, gems, and tips that you can give me to help me along the journey. I definitely have some more questions for you as well. So I'm looking forward to it.
Right. So let's start. I have my first big question for you is number one. So, what did we execute on since our last session? It sounds like a lot. I'm very excited to hear about all of that. So, what are like the top three things that you executed on since the last session?
So I will definitely say utilizing Chat GPT more
Yep.
because I just didn't. And so I was able to like ask questions for it to help me strategize like an order to do things. Um, and what would be most successful as far as the launch is concerned. Secondly, definitely deep dived into hopping on different pages, researching, making comments here and there. Um, I didn't comment too heavily, just a little bit, just more liking things, but just navigating that space to kind of see, okay, which page or which influencer do I want to go back to and soft touch in a DM. I did DM someone, and of course, I'm wondering because it was an influencer whether or not they even received it because you know how again the
The team.
DM and the messaging works. So I think that's three things. Yeah. So those are the things I've done in conjunction, like I shared with some other things, just tightening up areas within the book. And that's just more so the perfectionist, which you as writer author, you know how that goes.
Yep.
It's never going to be perfect, but you just want to get it as perfect as you can. So that's another thing that I've delved into, and also more so thinking of like the launch and trying to strategize the best ways to go about it. Hiccup that I've encountered, IG's algorithm has changed so drastically, and we discussed this, the last time that we spoke within the last session.
Mm-hmm.
I'm concerned because I used to on my stories and also post, I would get lots of eyes, right? And now it's seeming like I'm like, am I in IG jail? Like, what is going on? It just seems like
Mm-hmm.
the numbers aren't there and I'm confused, right?
Yeah, I'm hearing that.
So I'm nervous. I'm very nervous because the main video that I have scheduled to drop, I need to make sure that it's seen. So that's my that's one of my concerns. And then my question for you too, leading in with that, is pivoting over to YouTube, which I have things, on my calendar to drop this week. So and YouTube is kind of new for me. So the page is there, but there's
It's
no content. So I also want to discuss and have a conversation with you as far as, being that you have such experience with YouTube, how can I best navigate YouTube? The first reel that I put there should be long term, short term, intro. I just want to leverage it the best way possible. For definitely for tomorrow, because that's when it's scheduled to get something on that page. But then more importantly, I want to make sure I have the right intro topic on that page because it's blank. It's a clean slate.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Couple things. The first thing I will say is that I think that adding more content to your main product, I think, is probably the most exciting thing update that you've given so far. And the reason why I think that's exciting is because a lot of times when it comes to selling something, if you haven't had a career in marketing and sales, that
Mhm.
is what holds people back the most, like believing that they have what it takes to push past the discomfort of selling something, right? And asking somebody to do something. Part of the reason why we have that anxiety, because I had to overcome it myself, is because we know how we treat salespeople. We call a telemarketers on the line. What do? We hang up, right? Nobody wants to be on the receiving end of that.
No.
A lot of people don't want to automatically go into or not even automatically. They don't want to go into a career in sales because they don't want that skeevy, snake oil salesman type of feel. And part of it is the language that's built around salespeople, right? Like they're always demonized, they're always the villain, they're always trying to get over or hustle somebody or get overpaid for something. Like there's a lot of that's at work that we don't realize. And then the second part is that sales is hard, right? You're trying to convince somebody to separate with their money for what you have, which means that, you have to be presenting something where the value is so good that they can't wait to actually part with their money because they actually see the value.
Hmm.
And so you have to be, not that what you have isn't valuable, but a lot of times we don't even know how to communicate the value. So that's the part where the positioning comes in, where the public relations comes in, right? Is communicating the value and being validated by official sources. And so a lot of people look at that and they're like, I don't know. Well, and what I hear a lot in coaching sessions is, well, what would I sell? This is this thing that I've been doing my whole life, but what would I sell? So not
Hmm.
only do you know what you would sell, and this isn't the first time you're selling something, but you also are taking advantage of the time that we're in right now, and you are editing in real time, which I always tell people, whatever you're releasing out, don't feel like you're married to it. It's like, oh, I put this out and this is what I'm sticking with. You could
Yeah.
change and there'll be like 2.0, there'll be 3.0, there'll be this with, a bonus, whatever. But never be afraid to keep altering and editing what your offer is, because yeah, the way that the times are going so fast,
Hmm.
everything is moving and changing so fast. If you're still selling the same product, good luck to you. You have to keep adding value to it, and so that's what excites me the most. And the fact that you use the tools available to you, right? Like Chat GPT, Perplexity, Replit, whatever it is that you choose to use, HeyGen, Gamma, whatever tool you use, you still have to lead with your knowledge and expertise, because Chat GPT is never going to be a replacement for that. However, you use it to become you turbocharged. And that's
Hmm.
what it does, right? It,
Hmm.
like, if you have all of these things to do on your to-do list, mom things, boss things, caretaker things, just daily life and things. So you might not be able to see every single option that's available to you, or all the creative ways you could do this. But Chat GPT doesn't, it's not burdened with any of that. You
Hmm.
give it the base and it takes it to the next level. And so I think that that's very exciting that you did that. Also, getting your community activated. Hello, because a lot of people think you have to have a whole lot of followers, and you do not. I
Mhm.
mean, you have people who believe in you, who want to see you win, who know your product, who've experienced it, who can testify to it. That is your community, and every community starts off small, and I do mean small, right? First is just your family, if you're lucky enough to have family that supports you. Not everybody is.
True.
Then it's your friend circle, your sister
Mhm.
girls, your friends, your classmates, people who just want to support you because they love you. And then it starts to spread outside of them until the universe just keeps growing and growing and getting bigger and bigger, and you're recruiting more people until hopefully your message, product, or service goes viral, and then
Right.
the people are coming to you. So like I always say, if when you find your people find you.
Mhm.
So I think that that is also super exciting. Activating the community as early as possible is going to be helpful. And third and lastly, I still say for what you're doing, YouTube is where
Yeah.
your energy should be focused, because you want a community of people that are seeking information,
Mhm.
and YouTube is where they go to find. YouTube University is where people go to learn how to do things. I mean, literally, if it's like something as small as how do I remove crayon off the wall, or how do I learn how to braid, how do I learn how to fry a good piece of chicken, or how do I learn to bake? Everybody at YouTube University is seeking some kind of lesson, some kind of way, right? And so the fact that you're focusing there is all good. I would say that for the purposes of your page, you need to have some quality long form content, because you need people to feel like they're learning something. And long form these days could be 20 minutes.
Okay.
Long form is not hours and hours. It can be if you
Mhm.
can keep the value going for that long. But if you can teach something in 20 minutes, you're doing great.
Okay.
And you're keeping people engaged and showing them the value that you're an expert. They have to know, like, and trust you, right? And
Mhm.
so that is the part. Now, when it comes to the debate on long form versus short form, you have to understand this. The person who's looking for short form content only, because they are there, that person is like a TikToker, right? TikTok
Okay.
is just short form content, period. They just constantly looking for another dopamine hit of to laugh or to be shocked or stunned or whatever. Not necessarily the person who is there for the long form content, who wants to learn how to do something and who wants to lock in and say, oh, okay, this person taught me how to do this, I'm coming back to see what else she could teach. So two serving two different masters there.
Okay.
I do think you need the short form to tease the long form. Okay, so that's necessary. Um, but I think the long form is mandatory. And
So,
I would say, go ahead.
quick question for you. So, would you recommend then create like a quick little short form video that leads into what the long one is about? And how far apart should I space them with posting? Because, I'm kind of like in a very crunch time window right now. So,
Hmm.
should it be like the same day in the morning and then maybe like late afternoon, or should it be like today and then tomorrow?
If you're in a short crunch, because you do have a release date of the
Mhm.
26th, am I right? Did
Right.
anything
That's fine.
change with that?
Mhm.
I would be doing two shorts and a long every single day until then,
Okay.
because you want your audience to keep coming back. And if there's too much time in between, then it really will not work. But you need the long form, because that's where your value comes in. You need the short form because that's where you tease and you kind of put the hook in them to come back and find out a little. You spark curiosity with your short form content. So you can even say that this is the, take the extract the lessons that you're teaching in the long form, and just hit with, I'm gonna give you a tool real quick. Have you heard of Opus Clips?
Opus clips? No.
Okay, Opus Clips. It's I'm pretty sure it's opusclips.pro, but Opus Clips
Mm.
is another AI tool. When you have long form content, you upload your video, and it literally, you just put break into short videos, and
Wow.
I
Okay.
mean, it will take a, let's say, hour and a half video, break it up into 35 different short form videos. It will add the captions on top, so you see the captions in each of the short form videos,
Hmm.
and it will give you an analysis from top to bottom. From
Wow.
this has a 98% chance of going viral, all the way down to like a 50% chance.
That's
So
incredible. And
it'll
it's
tell
called
you
Opus Clips, like OPUSCLIPS.
OPUS. Yep. So that is going to tell
Okay,
you which pieces of that long form were most interesting and
mhm.
you should share as
Huh,
short form content. And so that is super valuable. We use it all the time here.
that's
Like,
incredible. I've never heard of that, but that definitely sounds like for sure informative and a time saver. Absolutely.
definitely.
And putting
And
out quality.
because you have a
Yeah,
time crunch,
okay. Thank
so you
you.
need that stuff generated as quickly as possible.
I
So
do.
go sign up. It's like $15 a month,
Okay.
and all of these subscriptions, they do start to add up,
Mhm.
because they're gonna 1099 and 1199 and 1499 us to death.
Yeah.
But this particular one is very valuable when you are on a tight schedule with content,
Mhm.
because nobody has time to be going through a long form video saying what piece should I cut it. No, it's going to cut those into you in for you, and then put your words up on a, whatever effect you want on it, and then tell
Mhm.
you this is the most interesting part of that conversation.
Okay. I'm definitely going to look into that. Thank you for sharing that.
No problem.
What do you think about this week as far as like urgency, scarcity strategy? Do you think that I should do or promote this week any type of giveaway for next week or no? Given that it's a guide, but like what are your thoughts there? Just trying to get more buzz and like my IG story. Because I actually did do that with my first book and it was received pretty well. Like people, everyone loves a freebie, but it was just kind of engaging as well, just to get people to, as you know, IG, they want that interaction, that soft touch, that those polls and things like that to get engagement. But I don't want to get too salesy just because of the nature of what I'm doing and the information that I'm sharing with Ghana and come back to the motherland, experience this historical and cultural context. So I don't want to be too salesy because I don't want to lose like the core depth of what I'm sharing. So what are your thoughts there? Because I would have to do it, of course, this week.
Hmm.
Not every day, but maybe once or twice or something. I'm just not sure if that approach is good for what I'm doing now. And also, I was thinking maybe a live, but I'm not. That's not my lane either. I don't really do lives, and you already know it's important to do them because I'm gonna have to start doing a course a lot.
Hmm.
Um, but I was wondering, would that be a smart approach for this particular, launch session prior to the book coming out, or should I wait for the live afterwards for the Q&As and things like that? So I know you do lives
So,
all the time. That's your lane as well.
I would say this. It depends on what kind of launch that you want. So I'm going to coach you on a couple of things. Let's
Okay.
start by busting down myths.
Okay.
Um, you're from my generation, so I'm pretty sure you remember Crazy Eddie, right? Commercials,
Crazy
crazy
Eddie.
commercials. The dude who used to stand there and be like, "Oh my God, it's $2 off this tire,
Listen, if I don't
whatever."
remember Eddie, there are a lot of commercials like that for sure.
Okay, you
That
remember the
whole
guy from
era.
OxyClean? Okay, same concept. Just a guy that's too salesy.
Yeah.
Somebody standing there yelling at the camera while there's all kinds of lights flashing, $5 off if you buy
Yeah.
right this second. That's too salesy. There's no such thing as being too salesy when you are trying to do two things. You are trying to solve people's problems
Mhm.
by providing a value that is not out there. And number two, you're trying to get information from your community because you want to provide increased value, so you need to know what they need. So the
Mhm.
reason why I started with not too salesy is because if you put the filter on of I don't want to be too salesy, it's going to change your mind or make you hesitate on all the things that you could be doing. If
Okay.
Now, that's the first thing.
Hmm.
The second thing is it depends on if you want a hard launch or a soft launch, right? Do you want a launch where you're like, wow, oh my God, all of these people came flooding to the page? Or do you want a soft launch where you're okay with it being kind of quiet and then you can slowly build up? Because here's the thing, I think no matter what kind of launch you want, you should already be having polls that are out there just because you set a specific date. I don't personally believe on specific dates. Like, I just kind of dropped the playbook and
Okay.
just kind of started doing like a $5 Facebook ad campaign a day, but I didn't even post about it for like the first 6 weeks because I wanted to see what
Mhm.
was out there. People would come and click and be like, "What is this thing?" Just to try to gauge curiosity. and then see, once I start applying the, more information and putting more, seeding more things out there, what will happen. So here's the thing. You should have polls. Who's going to Ghana in 2026? Who just recently came back from Ghana? You want to engage everyone who has an opinion, left, right, or sideways. Anybody who's been or is planning on going to Ghana, you need to get them, and you need to make them want to be like, why is this person asking me about Ghana? Right? That's all
Okay.
about validating why they should be coming to you. Those are like daily polls that you could be doing that are easy to put together. The first few, no one will engage in, and then eventually you'll start getting a few responses and then more.
Okay.
As the algorithm starts to see that you want to take the lead on this conversation about Ghana. You want more information, you want to give more, you want to get more. So I would start with that. That's not being salesy. That is called getting information, because you want to hear what people who just came back from Ghana have to say, because that way it helps you to help people who are going to Ghana more. It helps you to add value to your guidebook. It helps you to know what the challenges are that you didn't experience on your trip, but that our people are experiencing. So you want that. You want the daily polls. You definitely, now when you have a hard release date and you're
Mhm.
like, this is the date I'm releasing, I'm not changing it, come high water, this is what we're doing. That is a 4 lives a day type of demand, because you have a hard date, you have a limited time, you want to generate as much excitement as possible, and the
Mhm.
way you generate as much excitement as possible is to max out on lives, right? So
Okay.
4 lives a day, stories, 2 3 stories a day, if you want that pressure. If you don't, it's okay to do however many lives you have in you, because not everybody has 4 lives a day in them. Some of us struggle to do 1 live a day, right? Like I love that Kev on stage, when he had that whole like 2 weeks ago, he's like, see me, I'm on this camera right now, I'm on this Instagram live. This is not what I wanted to be doing, but I'm doing it to make sure that the information is getting out there, because that's a creator who's highly successful, who's being real with you. Like, this is
Mhm.
still not easy, even after all these years. And so I think that incorporate the lives, because you have a hard release date, however many you can do.
Okay.
But definitely use all the tools at your disposal to get information from your people, because you're still finding your people. They're not going to find you until you find out exactly who they are. So you have to find them first. The second thing is this, I mean, the third thing is on freebies. I believe that in the culture that we're in right now, in this super rapid information highway that we've all found ourselves on, right?
Mhm.
Like none of us said, "Hey, I want to be immersed in a social media world where it's like constant demand for content, 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 content."
Yeah.
Nobody said that's what they wanted, but here we are, right? Having to play ball, right? And so that's one of the biggest things is like entrepreneurs sign up to do what they do great, but
Mhm.
it's almost like a required piece of the job that now you have to be a content creator. You have to get on a posting schedule. You have to go out there to find your audience, because it's 2026 and this is how entrepreneurs find their audience. So you didn't sign up for the job, but you damn well better get good at it. And so that's the thing. You have to play ball if you're going to be an
Absolutely.
entrepreneur. It's part of it. So, part of that game is freebies, because everyone is inundated with content around everything all the time. How you get their attention is to release freebies that are about a very specific issue, and they solve a very specific problem. I am looking for real estate deals in Ghana. I am
Mhm.
looking for best happy hour rooftop parties in Ghana. I am looking for, you see how specific those are? That
Right.
is what your freebie should be around.
Okay.
Hey, if you have a elderly parent that you're taking care of and you want to plan a family trip to Ghana, here are resources for the elderly. All
Mhm.
of those kinds of things where you can be hyper specific, solve one problem. That's what a freebie is built around. A freebie is not solving 100 problems. It's not even solving two. It's solving one. Something that you can create, make it look pretty, and then post it. and make sure that you use it to attract people. So it's almost like an irresistible offer. All they're asking me for is my email address. How could I not just put my email address in to get this free thing that I need?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say the freebies are non-negotiables, and I would also say that the polls, anything that helps you to get information, anything that helps you to understand your audience better, those all are necessary.
Okay, another question for you. I'm tying into what you just said. So I have these photos and reels, as you know, that I've just been gatekeeping because I've been trying to figure out how to drop everything. Would it be
Hmm.
helpful with some of the polls? Because I think now would be a perfect time, especially on IG, to post like some of the really cute pictures of myself with the beautiful backdrops in Ghana, and then have this poll a part of the caption. Because everyone's gonna be like, oh, wait a minute, like she's in Ghana, right? Because a lot of no one, I didn't really share all of this information, of course, with my close, clan I did, but as far as the World Wide Web, no, because I was trying to figure out best ways to do this, to share. So I was wondering, would that be a good idea to use some of those pictures and then add this information in the polls with it to kind of do a double engagement that way, not just showing like what I like to call like just the vanity shots of people just posting themselves looking really pretty, but tie that into actual information and questions. Do you think that'd be effective?
I do think it'll be effective. I would also say that it doesn't have to be one of your photos from Ghana. It can also be, I'm sure that either Gemini or ChatGPT can do this. But if
Okay.
there are landmarks in Ghana, things that are very well known for people who want to go there,
Yep.
see if you can create backdrops where you put yourself in front of it, or you say, could you see
Okay.
yourself here? You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
backdrops for photos where people can drop them in so that they can visualize the experience. Hey, have
Okay.
you visualized yourself in Ghana this year? Here's why that trip is so possible for you and your good girlfriends. Something like that. Cuz essentially, not that you're doing Ghana tourism, but you need to find everyone who is thinking about it, ever went on to some kind of Airbnb and looked up a home in Ghana,
Mm-hmm.
went to Delta or kayak.com and looked for a flight to Ghana. You want that person because
Okay.
they've already thought about it. They've had a thought, even if they didn't put any money behind it, and they already have a curiosity. They need to see a little bit more, or they've heard about it. Some good girlfriends went. Or you have people who are like, oh no, I'm going to Ghana this year, or I just came back. I can't wait for my next trip. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I would say as many visuals as possible is always a plus.
Okay.
Um, I um, I am I'm thinking that Gemini is going to have fun with that more than ChatGPT.
Okay. That sounds good. I've heard of Gemini. I haven't. I'm
Graphics is insane. They really are.
Wow. Okay. I'm definitely going to look into that. I've heard of it. I haven't really navigated through that software, but
Mm-hmm.
I hope it's user friendly.
You said what?
Yeah. But I hope it's user friendly, but I'll find out. Yeah.
Gemini is a part of Google. It is going to require a subscription.
Hmm.
Um, the I think it's the same as ChatGPT, $20 a month. I'm pretty sure that's what I pay.
Okay.
Um, and I would say that the graphics are insane. I mean, there's no other way.
Really?
Like
Okay.
what if you're trying to get graphics out of ChatGPT, you are very frustrated, and
Yes.
rightfully so.
I
It's
tried
just
to think.
not they're not there yet. But it's just not there yet. But if you are a person who has time to kind of work with it, or you have a photo you want to start with, you can
Mhm.
do video, like but they don't call it VO. What do they call it? I think they call it Google VO. Yeah, for the videos, and Nano Banana for the uh hold on a second, let me just add this. Okay. And Nano Banana for images. They are very good. Nano Banana is killing it. If you need a lesson, go to YouTube, of course, YouTube University, look up Nano Banana, but you feed it a photo and it is going to give you back something where you're like, wow, okay,
Okay.
like, oh my God, that's me. And then say, put me in front of the backdrop at the Ghana Zoo for children and families. And I want to have a knotless braid hairstyle up in a bun with a pink lip holding a white Stanley cup. From that one
That's
photo, you're going to get that. I'm just telling you. Use it. Do it.
wow. Perfect. Okay. Um, so I know I jumped in and kind of interrupted you, so I'm
Mhm.
back, focused,
That's
listening
okay.
without questions. Great.
What was I? Where was I? I was at and the freebies is non-negotiable. Go find the information. I mean, go find your people through and getting information like polls and things like that. I think I
Okay.
answered your question. So I have a second question for you,
Yeah.
and that one is, um, after getting your community activated and having them go out there and kind of share things and spread the word. By now, you should be getting in just a little bit of information. It could be a little trickle, one here, one there, a little bit of feedback, somebody who responded, somebody who hit the like button. What part of the messaging that you have put out there, that your community has put out there, what part of the messaging about the guidebook has been landing a little, a lot, the strongest? What part says, oh, people want to hear more about this thing? I need to lean more into it. Have you been
Mhm.
getting that kind of information or feedback from anywhere?
Yes, that's why I actually went back into the book because I had to think to myself, like, did I thoroughly touch base on this? And when I say this, I'm referencing like the no racism clause because I know I mentioned it like, oh, you land, everyone looks like you, right? It's deeper than that though. Like, especially coming as a Black American, African American, going back to the motherland. Because I actually had a conversation with one of my good friends from Senegal while he lives in Atlanta. And we actually kind of had a little sparring because I was very frustrated when he said, I believe African Americans play up racism too much. Like, I think you guys just need to work harder. And this is a good friend. So, you
I
can only
get that from
imagine,
a lot of people. I
what
mean,
kind of
people of
conversation.
African descent, they think that. I mean, because that broad stroke of African Americans are lazy, like that has transcended U.S. borders. People believe that.
For sure, unfortunately. And so at the time, because this conversation was had like a couple years ago, and at the time I was livid, as you can imagine. Like, what? And then, just the fight that we have for civil rights that everyone is enjoying, but seem to forget who was a culprit. But whatever, I digress. So at any rate, it just infuriated me because I'm thinking, what are you talking about? Of course, you can see racism exists here. And so we just had this little debate, right?
Hmm.
And then, long story short, fast forward a couple years, he experienced racism. Like, and he said even at that time, because it was at work, that it was one of those things where he just thought if he did this better or did this harder, because he's a brilliant guy. He just said he just thought if he did certain things better at work, maybe that would cause the problem to go away. But then he
Hmm.
started realizing it didn't matter what he did, it was what it was, and now he started
Hmm.
understanding what I mentioned years
Hmm.
before. But at that time, he said, when we had that conversation and reconvened and reconnected about it, he was like, I apologize because I really thought you all were just complaining, but now I see that you're not. It does exist. He said, but where I'm from, everyone looks like me, and it just doesn't exist, right? And although he said it didn't resonate. Like, I heard what he was saying. Theoretically, I understood what he was saying. But anyway, getting back to your point and me going back into the book, um, I didn't feel like I thoroughly explained that point in the book because he's right. Once I was inside of Ghana, landed, and was there for some time to enjoy and experience the culture, it doesn't exist. It just,
Hmm.
racism does not exist because when I tell you everyone looks like you,
Hmm.
everywhere you look around, it's like America reversed.
Hmm.
And 10%, like 10 times that, right? And so I wanted to go back in and express and stress that every single American and literally every single, I believe, Black person um, around the diaspora need to understand what that feels like.
Hmm.
Because me personally, I never in my life have never just not seeing racism, not experiencing, not heard other people who've experienced it, and because it's just become a part of daily life in America, and you just deal with it, right? You just
I mean,
live
the
through it.
promise of this country was that the low level citizens that were in Europe would all band together and go somewhere where they could be first class citizens and not second class citizens, but they
Right,
needed people to work. So there was never
right.
a promise that people of color were going to share in the wealth of this country. And that's the thing that they don't want you to remind them about or say out loud, but they still want to keep secure the principles from that and keep that going. So it's like, where do you go with that? But that is a rabbit hole I can't even go down during a coaching session because we'll be here for 3 hours. And I just
That's the
don't
quiet part out loud,
even
for
watch the
sure.
news anymore because
Hmm.
these are the choices that they still want to keep going. So what can you do about it? Let's focus on your business though.
Yeah, right,
So yes.
absolutely. So that part, I felt that I didn't do due diligence to explain the weight that's lifted off your shoulder, how you literally can breathe and just exist. You're not there's no microaggressions, there's no code switching. You're just yourself unapologetically. And it's okay. Like it's acceptable. There's nothing else to say about that. You just live like a human being in your daily life without someone trying to control you, watching over you, have something to say about every single little thing you're doing. Um, so I just basically went back in and thoroughly gave that a chapter,
That's
because
good.
it was necessary.
That's a
And then
part
I
of the experience, and not that kind of experience is something that it puts a lens on everything, every other part of the experience.
absolutely, and I also felt too it's beneficial not just for people of color, people that are non-black as well,
Hmm.
because they don't maybe they don't understand, they don't really see, because they don't
They just
experience.
start sick of hearing about it.
Or they're sick of hearing about it. So yeah, so that's why that was important for me to do. So I had to do some like kind of touch ups like that, that are prevalent and that I believe is going to make the product and sharing the information way stronger because now it's more relatable.
Okay, so the question was, what messaging are you finding? What messaging is landing? So you're finding that messaging in, in particular is landing.
That
Okay,
yes,
good.
getting back to your question, it was that message there where people are like, "What?" Like, yeah, I know it's all black, but it's this innate feeling of just peace and resetting, and that how we need that because our systems are high, just level stress operating in this place.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's for right now is more so that as well as a historical context with the slave castles, because everyone's always blown away because again you hear about it, you learn about it in school, but to see it, that's always a very huge drawing point too, where they're like, oh yeah, I definitely got to get there. I need to see that. I need to experience that. So I would say those are the top two contenders
Hmm.
for
And as
interest.
a outside spectator, I would be curious, and a person who's never been to Africa at all or Ghana, I would be curious about the dynamics between African Americans and Ghanaians. And, like to your point, because I've had that debate more than a few times where someone just literally straight up said, like, we think y'all African Americans are crazy. Like, you're born here and you are not taking advantage of all of the opportunities that are here.
Right.
And I can understand how somebody can have that filter, but that's when I get into a myth busting conversation because
Absolutely.
sometimes it's actually easier as a person who doesn't come with the um, filter that's
Hmm.
given to African Americans when they grow up here, like, the inner cities, all of the things that the little microaggressions you deal with every day that kind of train you to have a certain expectation. Sometimes it's better when you just come like, hey, came to the land of opportunity to go find some opportunity. That is a fresh perspective that you don't have, that you got growing up in Cleveland or
Right.
or the Bronx. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, you have no
Mhm.
idea. You're just like, hey, land of opportunity. I'm here to go get some opportunity. You know what I'm saying? So I
For
feel
sure.
like there's like myth busting that has to happen. There's also just like after a while having the experiences here that you reconvene on that. I like the fact that you said that and then you find out what the actual experience was, and that it wasn't too different from what we said it was. So I just think that
Absolutely.
that is that's interesting, and that could lead to um, a bunch of hybrid conversations about your guidebook, but also different branches of the book, like addendums, different workbooks, things like that,
Mm,
or pocket guides that can all be sold in addition to the original guidebook.
okay, that makes
So
sense.
that messaging is landing more than messaging about the quality experiences and the diversity of the different things that you can do out there.
Yeah, for the individuals that I've spoken to, yes, and also, and this is lighthearted, but the food that always comes about, like clean eating, for my people who are like, um, the gym girlies and the guys who are always in the gym and just like to eat clean, health conscious type people as well,
Mhm.
because the food is so amazing and great. And when I say clean eating, like just organic, everything's so fresh, and
And
so
it's
that's another
ultra processed. I
no
mean,
process. Hmm. And so that's like another conversation as well. And then the cultural norms too, because I have that section in there, like the do's and don'ts, which help people so that they can have a better experience. And just little things you don't think about, like just speaking, because you're from New York, I'm from
yes,
Detroit. You already know. You just pass people like, look, sales and sales in the night. Like you just kind of stay in your lane, mind your business. You may speak, but primarily probably not. It's definitely not in the major cities these
I
days. People,
usually try to make it my business to speak, especially when one of my pet peeves, it drives me insane, is when you're in a closed off space and
mhm.
it may be you and one other black person, and they work hard to not speak. Why would we be
That
doing that?
sucks.
I don't understand
I
that.
hate
That
that.
drives me
Yeah,
insane. I'm specifically making a beeline to you to speak. The least we could do is meet in this space. I'm just saying, we
absolutely.
already have one thing in common. There could be much more than that. It could not be. But why would we intentionally not speak? I
So
don't get
many
that.
people
But
don't. So many people don't. And so I feel
I
like
am a New Yorker, but I definitely am one of those people who believes that we speak to each other on the
I
street.
love that because it's frustrating. Even down here in Atlanta, like back in the day, it was Southern hospitality. Everyone spoke as you passed. And
Mhm.
nowadays, because we have such a large influx of, like, transplants, people who kind of moved down here, that like Southern hospitality is kind of gone. It doesn't exist like it used to. And so, but I put in the book, don't go to Ghana acting that way because you're going to, culturally, it's a no-no. You're looked at
Oh,
as
I love that.
incredibly rude, even if you're in hotels and even if you're passing just like the staff and just the house cleaners and workers, you still, everyone speaks and respects one another. And like I said, coming from the States or coming from whatever other country someone may come from in the West, they just may naturally just not do it, not trying to be
Yeah,
rude or mean. So it's just the small details like that,
yeah.
that are also
So
resonating there.
I love that. I love that. First of all, that I didn't even expect that. And I love that you can actually find a lane for that. Is there an entire chapter in the book about that?
It, mhm, it
See,
is.
the hospitality, is that it was called?
Yep. Cultural do's and don'ts, like just things
Uh-huh.
to know in advance and look out for, so that when you get there, you're not taken aback or people are not looking at you sideways because you're just, you know, being rude and not knowing. So yeah,
Did you ever think about doing a one sheet about cultural do's and don'ts when you are in the motherland? That is a freebie.
yeah, okay, yeah, that actually is a great idea.
That's a
No, I
freebie
didn't.
that you make it look beautiful in Canva or with Savannah from Seven Design Studios. Best designer ever. Or you just make it pretty and put it out there. That's valuable information that people have no idea about. You post on social about it. That's definitely an Instagram post. That's definitely something people, you get an email address in exchange and you get it.
Okay, that sounds great, and I honestly didn't think of that. So
Mhm.
yeah, thank you.
That's a one sheet.
Hmm.
um, and you can even build that out to a whole guidebook. Like, don't think you're going to land bringing your U.S. values. Don't do it.
At all,
And
please
like, I
don't.
know we speak to everybody because my 5-year old, he walks the street. Hello, sir. Hi, sir. We
Aw.
get hi, driver. He does all of that. So I know already, like, it is definitely something that we try to make cultural, me and his dad. And it's just like, we speak when we see people, because that's how I grew up. My mom spoke to every neighbor every day, all the time, all day long. So let's get to the next question. So the
Okay.
third one is, have you noticed, well, you haven't launched yet, but this is one of the first things that you need to decide. Number one, what platform are you selling on, and does that platform give you the kind of analytics that show you where people are getting stuck in the process? The reason
No.
why I'm asking that is this.
Yeah.
Let's say you create a pixel. You know what a pixel is, right?
Are you talking about the upload for like the actual book
Mm-mm. Okay,
image?
so
No.
let's have a sidebar real quick about selling
Okay.
products online. Where were you going to sell?
So Amazon, Gumroad, also utilizing social media, so YouTube and Instagram as well. And then of
Okay.
course, Google, they have, it escapes me right now, but um, their actual platform as well.
Okay. What is the
The
price
price.
point?
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead. Say it again.
No, no, I was just going to say that on their ebook platform, I was going to list there as well.
Okay. What is the price point on your book?
18.99 for the paperback, and then I was going to do 14.99 for the ebook.
Okay, that price excites me because that is a low ticket offer that people do not have to agonize over to buy. I was gonna say I think it should be at least in the 27-30 area. I'm
Really?
just saying, yes,
Okay.
it took you some time to put together
It
this
did.
book. It has some value, and maybe you can run an ad where it takes it down to $18. But I mean, you set the price for your product always. No one should have a say in that. But
Yeah.
if you put value in it, you should definitely make sure you charge it like it's valuable. But I said that to say this: not every single platform that you sell on is going to make, that's a booze cruise going by, sorry. Not every single platform that you sell on makes the checkout journey easy, right? So there are going to be some platforms where it's click after click after click, and then the person has already gotten tired and they left. And it's in that case, it's not user friendly, and it's not your fault that they're not following through. In
Okay.
some cases, it will be because it takes too long to load up. And even if it is a few short clicks, it just takes too long, the processing and all of that. There's plenty of times I've tried to buy something, and if the site freezes up
Yeah.
or stalls out or whatever, I don't have time to stick around and figure that out unless I'm burning for the product. And usually, low ticket offers aren't something somebody's burning for because it's something small that provides value.
Hmm.
I would say that I would explore all my cart options. There's Thrive Cart, Stand Cart, Sam Cart, all of those where it makes low ticket checkout one click, because you've already provided the value. That's what got them to the page. Now they just need to check out.
Okay.
You don't need to have 10 pages of copy and one of them funnels that takes 2 hours to get through for a book. Mm.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, so we definitely need something where they can quickly check out because they're getting all the value from your YouTube page and your
Mhm.
Instagram page if you choose to do that. Uh,
Okay.
where I was going with the pixel is this. I'm personally in a Facebook ads accelerator course, but not everybody has to have that. But going utilizing your Facebook page, especially if you're going to advertise, or if you're going to sell through Instagram, you definitely want to be running some kind of Facebook ads campaign. And even if you aren't currently, you can set up your pixel on your Facebook page, and that will track all of the people who come to your page looking for your information and create a digital footprint, so that when you are ready to run your ads, it will say, everybody who has this type of footprint right here is looking for the content that you have, and there are lookalike audiences of people just like this who are interested in the same thing, so that you're not starting from scratch with your audience.
How do you set up a pixel?
That's going to be a whole nother class.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
I still need help with mine, but I can point you in
Okay.
the right direction. But we'll
Okay.
do that in another class because I want to make sure I at least give you the foundations of it.
Okay.
And I just that will do in a straight up like selling low ticket
Hmm.
offers type of coaching session.
No,
um
I was going to say now, as far as pricing, I started to price a little higher, like 24.99. But then when I started doing my market research, majority of the books on Amazon for, Ghana and travel, they all are in that sweet spot between like 15 to 20.
okay.
So I didn't want to price out where people are like, I'm going to get this one instead. Because there's actually, I'm not going to say a lot because there's really not a lot of travel books on there for Ghana.
Hmm.
Um, so I know mine will definitely get some traction. So I'm really excited just about the graphic, the actual cover, and of course the content inside. But that's the reason why I went back and forth. And then I did a soft ask, like just reaching out to associates, family, friends, and just kind of asking, like, "Hey, how much would you pay for X, Y, and Z?" Or you saw something of, that of substance. Um, Guidebook, what are you thinking? And so everyone was like, I wouldn't pay over 20. And so now, granted, this isn't my core audience. I do realize that, but I will say the majority of people did say that. And so I was just like, do I want to price over, price out? I don't know. So that's
Well,
how
you
I
did
came
the
about.
research and you priced appropriately.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay.
So then go with it. But when you add more value to it, you add a few bucks more.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because one thing about it is that one of the coaches in the that I was in his program was like, the problem with selling commodities, meaning anything tangible you hold in your hand, is that you are at the mercy of whatever the guy next to you is going to charge, right?
Hmm.
Like, and then eventually you cut your price to cut him, he cuts his price to cut you. You're in a race to the bottom. So
Yeah.
everybody, the consumer wins because they're getting everybody's stuff for super hella cheap, right?
Yeah, I can see
That's
that.
not putting you in a position to win. But what I would just challenge you to think is, am I providing value that doesn't exist anywhere else? And
Hmm.
if I am I showcasing that value in my communications? And this is where the public relations comes in.
Okay.
Am I going out and doing podcast interviews, press interviews, radio interviews, interviews on certain blogs or social pages where I
Hmm.
am clearly communicating the value of my product or service over and above the competition? If you are doing that, I would not be afraid to price at a higher value because you set yourself apart as a high value piece of information that is not like something that's out there.
Understandable. That makes sense. Okay.
You have to be communicated. You have to know for sure that you
Hmm.
had. That's where the remarkable entrepreneur comes in. You have to know for sure what your offers are remarkable to the marketplace, right? You have high impact, high value offers that they can't get anywhere else. That's your leverage. That you have the leverage to be able to price at a different value.
Okay.
If you're not confident in that, I would not just do it just because. Then I would
Understandable.
just follow your research and say they're not going to pay more than $20. To me,
Mhm.
$20 is $30. I don't know, but it's just, that to me. But
Understandable.
people, because and people are so used to this value discount,
Mhm.
like people, and sometimes I'm guilty of it too. You'll wait it out because a promo code is coming. Like we have like been trained by a lot of digital promotions and things like that to just wait it out and get the cheapest and all of that. But a high value customer, they will pay for value, they will pay for information, this means something to them, and that's really what you want your base of people to be.
Absolutely. Okay. No, I totally agree. And
Yeah,
thank you for sharing and breaking it down because it is very, very true and valid.
what you
Um,
price your product as, that's personal to you.
mhm.
And also, you need to value your time. Now, I do believe in discount pricing in the beginning to attract your audience, right? Because in the beginning they don't know you. You have to find your people
Yeah.
to make them want to find you. Once you do that, then you really have to price based on what you think your time is worth, not what you think they will pay. You
Yeah.
never say, what will they pay? Nah, that's not how we're doing it. What is
Okay.
this worth? That's how we're doing it.
Understandable. I love that. Thank you. Yeah.
No problem. What is have you heard any specific objections to why a person would not buy your product? It might be a little early because you haven't released yet, but
Yeah.
like
No,
what?
I haven't. No, from the individuals that I've spoken with and shared it with, Everyone was pretty excited, like wanting to know more, wanting more information because none of them have gone to Ghana. They've been to different parts of Africa, they've been, different places, as far as their travels worldwide and within, of course, the US, but they're just really excited, like, oh my God, I want to hear about it. Because, also with Ghana having that welcome home, with citizenship and things of that
Mm-hmm.
nature, Daddy December, it's the wave right now. So everyone's wanting to figure out how to visit. So yeah, no, I haven't had any pushback. Like no one's been like, oh, I don't want it or I'm not interested in it.
Great. So
Or
when you
people and more, I've gotten more of when is it coming out? Oh my God, I'm going to share it. Things like that.
Great. So once you launch and you start to get analytics on your abandoned carts and
Mm-hmm.
people who clicked on it but didn't follow it through, that's when you can find out real information about objections. And
Okay.
not really hard objections, but just things that stop people from going all the way through the checkout process. I mean, when
Mm-hmm.
something is $18.99 or $20, let's say, you like
Mm-hmm.
we just usually it's not even really like an objection. It's more like usability, like user friendliness, getting through
Mm-hmm.
the end. Nobody's stopping going, I don't know. It's $20. So if you can afford
Right.
to go to Ghana, like it's really not the price that's the
Thank
problem.
you.
You gotta find out what that is.
Really?
You'll be able to extract that information when you get there. But
Okay.
I think the high priority is making sure that you are leveraging everything that you already know about Ghana from your experience and what kind of value um, you can provide to an audience that's looking at going there, just came back and wants to go back, or
Mm-hmm.
could possibly be open to it. They find you as the expert. So like this is my last and final session 2 question is, if I looked at your Instagram and LinkedIn today,
Mm-hmm.
would it jump off the page at me and be clear that you are the expert on Ghana travel for
Uh,
Americans or for anybody who is seeking even a warm welcome? Because to me, when I hear that, like the welcome home thing, to me,
mhm.
there's so much social that can be created that says, wouldn't it be nice to get a warm welcome somewhere
Absolutely.
nowadays? Because, like,
Absolutely.
this
Yes.
is weird. I mean, meaning US. Like after the last year, and
Hello.
it's only been a year. After the
Hello.
last year and
Yeah.
1 month, like wouldn't it be nice to go someplace where the welcome is warm? That
Absolutely.
like I would max out on the social
I
there.
was just gonna say
That's what
I
your
need to
lives
build
are
around
about,
that because it's so true. Because here we're home and there's no
and
warm
it does
welcomes
feel
at home, right?
right.
So to answer your question, as far as expert right now, no, because I'm still, trying to build and I'm going to drop these reels. But if you were to go like right this second, no. And by midweek, yes. But right
Mhm.
now, no. So that's why I'm wanting to make sure, like in our conversation, that I go about the right way, setting up these alerts when when it's supposed to schedule to drop the reels.
Mhm.
I want to make sure I'm doing it right so I can capture the audience at the right time with the right things. So, but as of today, no, to answer your question. They'll
Did
see that
you
I'm a writer and an author, like documented being like authority in that lane, and published, of course. But as far as Ghana specifically, no.
You just sparked an idea for me. You had asked a while back about your YouTube video and what the intro video should be about. The
Mm-hmm.
intro video should be less about the Ghana guidebook, and it should be more about the fact that you're an author
Okay.
of experiences. Your other book was an experience of kind of like just kind of almost approaching end of life, but really not, like kind of like a renewal, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak. And this one is about visiting Ghana. So I would say that the intro video has to be about how you are the author of experiences,
Okay.
and that this is your latest installment of experiences that you're writing about. So I meant to say that, but forgot. But thank you for saying what you just said because it made me circle back.
Thank
But
you.
what I would say is we talked about the templates in our last call. Did you look into the templates, the social media templates, to see what you could get? Because that is going to be the way to fast track and content batch. That's what's going to make you the expert on Ghana.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely by our next session, you should
Mhm.
have an entire template pack of you can go to Etsy, you can go to different places to find them pre-made
Mhm.
ones, and just content batch a bunch of stuff about Ghana polls, Ghana information, Ghana experiences, the backdrops. Could you see yourself here? Don't you
Mhm.
want to go where the welcome is warm? Those are three main verticals of content all about Ghana that you can just max out on, just a bunch of different
I agree.
versions of
And I like that because it's, although the topic sounds so like grassroots simple, it hits the heart so hard
it.
because emotionally we all need that welcome, that warmth, because everything's so cold here, figuratively and literally, even down to the weather. So, in certain places. So yeah, yeah, I
And
love all
once
that.
so that's all exercises in positioning, because the truth is that you cannot pitch press until you're properly positioned on your own pages as
Okay.
the expert. Like, it that has to happen first, so that when a media person goes to look you up, they're not just going to book you because you said you're the expert. They're going to go look and find information to see, like, is she the expert? So you want to go make sure that you get your social positioning together, and get some content up that they can go back and look for. And then you can start targeting, like, local media outlets, and definitely media outlets that cover experiences,
Okay.
and tourism and travel. And then you can start there with pitching yourself for those kinds of looks. But a lot of things need to happen before then, right? So you
And
got the product piece, you added the value there. Now
mhm.
you have to do you decide to do the long form and turn it into short form. That has to happen as well, because they have to have something to go back on. Got to get those visuals up and put information out there that pulls information back from your community. You got to get extract some information from them. You want to make sure that you're constantly feeding things out there, your freebies that are going to get the email address, because you need the email address to community build, but also to make sure that they keep knowing every time you add more value, you can let them know. And then ultimately, make sure when you take a glance at that page, that Instagram page, that YouTube page, you're like, oh yeah, this woman is the expert on Ghana. Got to position yourself there first before you get the validation of authority from a media outlet that books you to speak as an expert.
Let me ask you this really quickly. So my Instagram, um, it has myself, of course, with my books, but also at a lot of different events that, we both know right now, it's not focused on Ghana. Do you think I should remove some of those pictures, not delete, but just archive some of them so that when people come, they could be focused more so at maybe the first, I don't know, like 6 to 12 pictures. Because right now I have probably, I'm just going to throw a wild, I'm just going to throw just a light number. Let's just say if there's like 50, right? Just 50 posts, right? But it's more so engaging at different entertainment or industry events, right? Or showing networks that I have, and then the book and what have you. But how many do you think, like, where do you think would be a safe space to kind of get a reboot, and how many do you think I should remove and just have focus where I can start putting things up about Ghana, but still leave soft touches up about that I am an author, that I am engaged in the community, that I do go to industry events, have my finger on the pulse. What do you think from a PR perspective makes the most sense?
So a lot of that is for a social media expert, but as a person who knows communications, and
Mhm.
also just as a person who is an Instagram user, I would say, leave up your highest engaging content,
Okay.
right? Like the things that got the most likes and engagement, the things that were fed out to more non-followers also,
Okay.
because Instagram felt like that transcended your followers.
Hmm.
I would also say anything that leans too heavy into branding specifically that's not aligned with what you have right now, right? And just using me as an example, I have a jewelry company as well called Eloise and Ethel, and there was a
Okay.
lot of Eloise and Ethel heavy stuff on my Instagram page, but
Hmm.
I archived it because it was also on the Eloise and Ethel page.
Hmm.
Um, and the personal brand stuff was for the comms coach stuff. So just anything that is going too heavy into brand building on something different. But I would say your networking events, industry events, definitely keep those up.
Okay.
Frivolous stuff, the stuff that needs to be deleted. But I wouldn't go too far. Like,
Okay.
because your Instagram page is really, I mean, not to be so melodramatic about it, but when we're all gone one day, people will have our Instagram pages to look back on and see what kind of life we lived. So don't delete anything that you're like, it's not, it is that serious. When we die, the Instagram page almost leaves a legacy.
It does.
So you don't want to take down things that you would want, your grandkids to see.
Right. Okay. That was very helpful. Thank you. No, I appreciate that. And another question for you, because I do totally get what you were saying as far as positioning yourself first. So, do you think it's better to just wait until after the book actually launches before I start doing podcasts? Because I have like a couple of contacts that I know. Um, Now, they're not huge podcasters, but they are interested in having me on. And they sort of tie into um, the branding book in a sense of it's more like community, um, black excellence, things of that nature, exposure to new things. So I think it'll be a good fit in that regard. Like I said,
Hmm.
their following is mid. It's not like the it's not like millions or hundreds of thousands of people. But I think it's a good start. So I'm just wondering, like, should I just kind of wait until the book launches where I can have the physical copy before I go on, or do you think it's okay to do one this week?
I would say due to this week. I personally am one of those people who never thought that there was any um, media outlet too small.
Okay.
Even when I was in the music business at Def Jam, even when I'm in film and I'm working big films, I always squeeze in the smaller media outlets into a
Okay.
press day because I think that everyone has their own personal community of folks that have never heard of you. There are more people on the planet who have not heard of you than people who have heard of you.
Right.
And every single person is a fast track into their own personal community. I believe in that. I believe there's no media outlet too small. I think that people have it twisted when they follow these high powered Hollywood publicists that want the media people to feel like they can't have access. Like, I'm like, what are you trying to do this job or not? Like, you want to be you want to stop people from interviewing? That doesn't make sense. I've had more arguments about that with these Hollywood publicists than one day I will write a book about that. Is the
Nice.
one person who fights for small black media outlets to get in the room, because they definitely try to hurt me afterwards. Trust, I
Oh.
take my bullets, but that's a fight that I think is worth fighting. I will
Hmm.
always fight for small black owned media outlets to have access, because there's no way they become big media outlets without the access. It's just that they have to fight for it while other people don't. So I would say do every single one. That's interesting. If people are interested in talking to you, talk to every single one.
Okay. Thank you.
And if
Awesome.
somebody is telling you that you shouldn't, I would
Hmm.
ask them, don't just believe them because they say so. Ask them, what is the logic in blocking me from talking to small media outlets? Is it because, like, what are we supposed to start at the top? Like, tell me, what is the point?
Understandable. Okay. That was that. I'm definitely gonna move forward with that. Place that
All
phone
right.
call. So yeah. Okay.
I love that. Okay, so any other questions for me for going forward? I would say templates, social templates. Go to Etsy as soon as you hang up from here.
Okay.
Etsy or any of the other ones. There's a lady out of Orlando also who has some beautiful ones at JOA Creative. And go find a template block that you love,
Mhm.
customize it with your brand colors, and lean in on all of that content that we just discussed. I would also say make sure that by this time in 72 hours, your page looks like an expert on the experiences of a tourist in Ghana. You're not an expert on Ghana because you haven't spent enough time there, but
Mhm.
you are an expert on the tourist experience. Definitely make sure you give it that context. Otherwise, you have somebody in your feed, challenging every word you
That
say.
for sure.
And also, I would say that this guidebook is more like a visibility engine. It's not the end product. I
Okay.
would be thinking about the freebie extensions that could come out of it, the workbooks that could come out of it, the pocket guidebooks that could come out of it, all of those kinds of things. So it's not just that one thing, but extensions of the, experiences are these kind of like amazing things that you can go endlessly into detail on. You
Hmm.
dig in on the real estate experience. A lot of people are into that. The beachside experience,
Hmm.
the restaurant experience, the culinary experience, all of that. What is it like in town where, the locals live, and, where do they go? Like, there are people who are obsessed with doing everything. Like my niece, no matter where we go, she's like, what are the locals doing? I want to do what they're doing.
Yep.
And so, she's like, I don't want to be at the, and me and her are polar opposites on that. I'm like, we came here to go to the Four Seasons. She's like, no, we didn't. I was like, we didn't. So,
But yeah.
I'm looking for that experience, and she's looking for the locals. So we come somewhere in the middle.
Hmm.
The templates, that page needs to, you need to have a long form and short form video up for every single day on YouTube.
Okay.
Definitely getting into those lives, definitely extracting more information from your community as to the feedback they're hearing about it. Is this a product that, people need? And what parts of it do they need to hear about?
Hmm.
um, and then, also you can think about leading with challenges, right? In your social content, you could be like, don't waste your first 48 hours in Ghana, or avoid tourist traps, or here's how to travel without overpaying. Those kinds of things. Also, you want to lean into where you can communicate that you're easing pain, right?
Hmm.
In order to get people to pay more attention, because the person who's traveling next week and they see that, they're going to be like, oh my god, I need that right now.
That's true. Okay.
That you're building
Yep.
trust with that. And if you make that one sheet we talked about, you
Hmm.
know kind of
Culture.
like the
Hmm.
had the mannerisms, the things like that, cultural like touch points.
Hmm.
Definitely. So don't play yourself when you're traveling to Ghana, like all of those kinds of things. You want to have those. So we are trying to find out if there are um, any objections whatsoever that the team is hearing out there. And I mean, team, your community. You
Okay.
definitely want to have some authority posts about why you're the person to write this guidebook. You definitely want calls to action. I'm looking for 20 people who are going to Ghana in 2026. That's how you attract your people. This guidebook is for you. Just comment whatever, and I'll send it to you.
Okay.
You need those people. Update your bio and link. Come up with a creative way to call yourself an expert, right? Like I personally said on your YouTube page, it should be like you're the author of experiences. Come up with something else if you don't like that, but definitely use it to refer to yourself. And then those photos of your experiences, and then
Hmm.
taking that a step further in Gemini, where you create space for people to visualize themselves in it, like a backdrop.
I like that. Okay. Backdrop. Perfect. I think we're good. I
All
think
right.
that's the right track for sure. For
Yeah.
look for the second stage.
Okay. Second session done.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so the third one is our last one, and then we'll make sure that you're ready for the 26th, for a big release date. I had way too much fun out here. I hope you did too. This was
I
great.
sure did. Yes. Yes. Thank you. You're always so amazing. And like I said, the gems keep dropping. So thank you. Thank you. Because you touch point on some things that I've never heard of that I can definitely utilize. And I'm here for it. So thank you so much.
Definitely.
Seriously.
Thank you so much, and I will certainly see you soon. I'm looking
Yes.
forward to it, and we're gonna have fun on the next one
We
too.
are. Thank you so much, Shante. This is great.
All
Thank you.
right, I'll see you soon.
All right. Bye.
All right, bye.